Quick heads up, I'm closing the door to the Play Schemas Collective on Tuesday the 10th of February until April. Because you're listening here, you can still jump in at the founding members price of $10 a month. There's already 50 bite-sized resources, access to Archie the Archives King, and of course, support from me. If you're ready to feel more confident and connected in your toddler's play, this is your moment. Head to playschemas.com/collective for more info. Hi, I'm Ruth Verco, and welcome back to Demystifying Child's Play, the podcast that brings you more joy, connection, and less frustration in your everyday parenting through making sense of what's really going on in your child's play. And it's a lot easier than you think. This episode is part 4 of a 10-part series introducing the top 10 play schemas, those repeated patterns in play that give you the why behind how your child plays. And today, we're diving into the Trajectory Play Schema, the one behind all the throwing, dropping, launching, climbing, and constant movement. Now, this is one of the episodes that deviates a little from the other ones. All the other episodes in the series share a 101 of the play schema. However, I already shared that back in episode 34. So today, you get another trajectory one, which is age-specific trajectory behaviours that tell you your child is experimenting the trajectory schema and what those behaviours are actually communicating about their development. What you're going to hear is taken directly from inside the Play Schemas Collective membership. It's a little sneak peek into the video library where I guide parents through understanding their child's play in real, practical, everyday ways. If you like the free handout that goes along with this, head to playschemas.com/free. That's play, schemas.com/free, and look for the specific trajectory one there. So whether you're out on a walk, driving, or multitasking at home, let's dive on in and talk about trajectory. In this video, we're going to look at age-specific trajectory behaviour from birth to 5 years plus. One of the most powerful things about understanding the trajectory schema is it gives you a roadmap for what your child's movement and play might look like, not just today, but as they grow. Trajectory play doesn't appear suddenly one day. It unfolds, evolving alongside your child's developmental stage. And while the core idea stays the same, exploring how things move through space, the way your children express it changes depending on their brain and body development and what foundations they've already built. So in this section, we're going to walk through each of the 4 developmental stages from birth through to age 5 and beyond. We're going to look at what trajectory play may look like at that stage, how you can support it, and what's typical, so you can spot it and feel confident. Here we'll cover birth to 5 plus. However, I also have a separate video about birth to 6 months, as that first year of life is so full of development, and those first 6 months alone are jam-packed with foundational play schema behaviours. So let's jump straight into it. Stage 1, which is birth to 18 months, the sensory motor stage. Right from birth, babies are learning through their senses and movement. The exploration of trajectory is very physical and often repetitive, and it's all about direct cause and effect. It all starts with lifting their head on their own and starting to be able to track movement with their eyes. As they move out of the newborn phase, they begin to realise that they have limbs, which they have control over. You might see wriggling, rolling, and kicking, experimenting with their own body motion. They might also be watching ceiling fans, shadows, or mobiles that move above them. Dropping toys and objects from the high chair and watching them fall becomes a favourite. Banging objects together or throwing them to make sounds. They might be splashing water in the bath again and again. It may look random at first, but really it is all about experimenting. What happens when I move this? What does it sound like when I drop that cup? How you can support this is offer safe items to drop and bang, like wooden spoons, soft blocks, or crinkly fabric. You can let them play in the bath or with water on a tray for splashing and pouring. Just remember to always supervise no matter how shallow the water is. You can hang interesting objects overhead for visual tracking and narrate what you see. You've dropped it, down it goes. So from birth to 18 months, this is your baby's first steps in understanding physics, even if they don't have the words yet. So in those first little bit, there is so much learning and foundations that are being built. Next, we're going to look at stage 2, which is 18 months to 3 years, the symbolic representation stage. Now your toddler is on the move, walking, climbing, throwing with purpose, and starting to represent things in their play. Their trajectory exploration ramps up during this stage, and they may start to challenge your boundaries, especially when throwing becomes a favourite activity. So what you might see is throwing toys, food, cups, anything that they can get their hands on. They could be pushing and rolling vehicles, often repetitively, pouring and dumping materials like water, sand, or their cereal. They could be starting to climb, jump, and launching their own bodies in ways you may not deem safe. They could be tossing things over the side of the pram or out of the bath. It's less about chaos and more about testing theories. What happens if I throw it hard? What if I climb up here and jump? How you can support this is provide items that you do deem to be appropriate to throw safely indoors. You could create pouring and dumping stations with dry materials or water. You could use ramps, slides, or DIY car races for cars and balls. You could say things like, "That's a big jump. Your body is really moving today." Or, "Wow, that made a loud sound when it dropped. I wonder if you can make the same sound again." Just as an aside, if you're watching this, my guess is that you've either been through the toilet learning journey with your child or you are going to embark on it soon. But with one of my boys, we've narrated movements so much that he knows that when he does a poo in the potty, it goes bump, or in the toilet, it goes splash. So now he'll narrate it himself during his toilet time. He'll go, "Oh, I did a bump, bump." And just on that, if you do want any guidance in the toilet learning journey, message me. I love potty talk nearly as much as I love chatting about play schemas. Okay, back to the slides. So this age is when many children get that first label as naughty for throwing or moving their bodies in big ways. So understanding trajectory really helps you reframe and support them instead. And it brings you more joy and less frustration into your everyday. Okay, stage 3, which is 3 to 4 years. This is the cause and effect stage. And by this stage, children are really becoming little scientists. They start to explore trajectory with more intention and design, creating setups, testing ideas, and making predictions. What you might see is building ramps or tracks for cars and balls. They could be launching objects to see how far or high things go. They could be creating chain reactions, like pushing down a line of dominoes or knocking down a tower. They're designing their own experiments. In their head, they're thinking, what if I stack these and then throw a ball? Fascination with how different objects move in their own unique and different ways could be like a feather or a stone, how they move. They're also using more and more language to explain what they're doing. This one went far. I made it go really fast. So how you can support this is encourage safe experiments. What do you think will happen if ... You could offer loose parts, which are things like bottle top lids, sticks, little things, and space to create cause and effect setups. And then leave the setups and creations out for the whole day, if not a few days, so they have the chance to revisit, reimagine, and rework their ideas. If you haven't seen the video about allowing setups to span multiple days, make sure you ask Archie the Archives King about work in progress cards, and he'll give you an overview of what they're all about and the whole video you can watch. You can help them record or compare the results through drawing or storytelling, or using your phone to film what happens, which can be particularly eye-opening for your little ones if you can capture creations falling or changing in slow motion. What you can do is you can support emotional regulation if things don't go to plan, like a ramp falling over. This is an age of building, testing, revising, and your job is to support their creativity and confidence in trial and error learning. Okay, next, we're going to look at stage 4, which is 4 to 5 years plus. This is the abstract understanding stage. By age 4 and beyond, children start to think more abstractly. The trajectory play becomes part of games, storytelling, and early scientific thinking. Now, with play schemas, I often say birth to 5 years. However, there is research that show play schemas are shown until about 7-year-olds too, and even older if your child is neurodivergent. In reality, once you start learning about play schemas, you'll see elements of them in all ages. Think about the positioning play schema, where everything needs to be lined up just so. I'm sure you know an adult like this, if it's not yourself, where everything needs to be in the right place. So, in the abstract understanding phase, with trajectory, you might see designing elaborate obstacle courses or ball runs, making paper aeroplanes, slingshots, or launches. They could be using trajectory in pretend play. Rocket ships, superheroes flying, animals leaping. At home, we're all about snow leopards at the moment, leaping 9 meters. You can be asking deeper questions, like why about movement? Why did it bounce like that? Why did the water spill faster from this cup? They're also more capable of taking turns, following rules, and playing trajectory games with others. So what you can do is support this by letting them lead the design of movement-based activities. You could also introduce some simple STEM ideas, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So this could look like force, speed, gravity through play. It's all about not giving them a lecture, but offering them open-ended materials for building and experimenting. You can encourage collaboration with siblings or friends at this stage. Children start to connect their physical experiments with bigger thinking. laying foundations for problem solving in early science. Okay, so as you can see, trajectory play evolves with your child, but the core drive stays the same, to explore how things, in their own bodies, move through space. Whether they're a 10-month-old dropping a spoon or a 5-year-old building a zipline for a teddy bear, they're always experimenting and learning through repetition and joy. And your role, as always, is not to fix the behaviour, but to understand and support it, to be able to create a safe, rich environment for it to unfold. If you have a little one at home from birth to 6 months, do make sure you check out the video Trajectory Play from newborns to 6 months to take a closer look at what trajectory play can look like in infants. Because yes, it does start early. And also, don't forget, you can ask Archie the Archives King all things trajectory. And if you can't answer, just flick me a DM or comment below. Please ensure, though, to tag me using @RuthVerco so I do not miss it. Okay, you are doing amazingly. Let's keep going. If you've ever wished that you had a group of parents who just get it, I would like to welcome you to the Play Schemas Collective. It's where you can ask questions without judgment, share those little wins only another parent would understand, and dive deeper into your child's play with people who speak your language. Join us at playschemas.com/collective for more information. We can't wait to have you on the inside.